Hi everyone, and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Jessamine bracelet, and this was designed by I'm a Crazy Fangirl on Instagram. I'll have her name in the description box below, and I'll bring up her Instagram profile here in just a second. But first I want to show you the design. So this is a center design, which I added borders to. And I did the center and the border in the same color, but in the tutorial today I'll be doing different colors so that you know which is which. But anyway, let me bring up her profile here. It is I'm a Crazy Fangirl spelled like this, and this is her account. So if you could go on Instagram and like her photos, give her a follow for me, that would be great. Like I said, I'll have her name in the description box below. But for now, we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing you're going to want is a hook. You don't really need a double-ended hook, but it does definitely help. You're also going to want a C-clip to secure your bracelet and some bands. Today, for these horizontal bands on the sides that I used in a pattern, I'll just be using one color, neon yellow. Then for the center here, I'll be using burgundy. And then for the borders, which are the outside chains, I'll be using caramel for. So to start, you're going to want to make a 6-loop setup with your burgundy bands. So you're just fishtailing one band onto each side of a cap band setup. Then you'll go ahead and take your first center color, your first horizontal band color. You'll pull this band through the first 5 loops. You'll lift the middle 2, so you're going to skip the first, grab the second and the third, and then you're going to skip the 4th and grab the 5th loop. And rearrange this brown so it's on the outside. And then you're going to push this yellow over the tip of your hook. Then you're going to take a burgundy band, pull this band through the first 2 loops, and lift the outer one. Now turn this around to the other side to do the same thing. You're going to take this neon yellow band and push it over the end of the hook. I kind of like to hold my burgundy there so it doesn't pop off. Then you're going to take another burgundy band through the first 2 loops and lift the outer one. So now you should be back to 6 loops on your hook. Taking another center band, I'm going to pull this through the first 5 loops. You're going to lift these middle 2 and then the outer one. Rearrange this outer brown so it looks like this. Then you're going to push the yellow over the tip of the hook. Take a burgundy band, pull it through the first 2 loops, and lift the outer one. Turn it around. Again, push that yellow off the end of your hook. Pull a burgundy band through the first 2, lift the outer one. Take another center or horizontal band, pull this through the first 5, lift the middle 2, and the outer one. And those bands should all be ones that are kind of sticking up, so they shouldn't be too hard to grab. You'll push this yellow over the tip of your hook. Take a burgundy band through the first 2, lift the outer one. Again, push that yellow off the hook, take a burgundy band through the first 2, and lift the outer one. So you're going to continue doing this until it's long enough to fit around your wrist, and then I'll show you how to close it off here. So when you take your last band through the first 5, you're going to do the same thing that you did before by lifting the middle 2 and lifting the outer one. You're going to push this yellow band off, but you're not going to add another burgundy band here, you're just going to leave that. Turn it around, do the same thing, just push that yellow band off, but don't add any burgundy bands here. Now you'll just take one last band, pull it through all 4 loops, and close. Then you'll take a C-clip and attach it to this band here. So now you should have something like this. Obviously if you pull on it, it's going to be a little bit messy. The middle isn't really that connected. So you can just kind of pull these yellow bands out to the side so you can see them better. And then we'll get on to adding the borders. So to add the borders, you're first going to want to grab the cap band, or this side of the cap band. So you're going to want to go into the side. Make sure you go in between these two burgundy bands. Grab that cap band loop out the side. Now you're going to take your border color and you're going to pull this band onto just the cap band. Now at this point it's actually easier if you flip the entire bracelet around. What I mean by that is you just take these two loops off of your hook, turn them around like so that the C-clip is facing your hook holding hand. Before you put this back on, you're going to grab this first yellow band and then you're going to put your caramel bands on as well. And the way I find this, why I find this easier is just because we're working with pushing bands off of this side of the hook, so it is kind of tedious to slide it back and forth. But if you like to do that, then that's up to you. But for this, you're going to take this loop closest to the neon yellow. You're going to push it over. You're going to push it over the neon yellow. And then you're going to take the neon yellow loop and push that over the tip of the hook. So it's going to be over that caramel and over the tip. Now this first band is going to be the hardest or the toughest band to do just because it's so close to the beginning. But once you get the hang of it, it'll be a lot easier. So once you push that over, you're going to take another caramel band, pull it through those two loops, and close. And then all I like to do is just take those two loops off, pick up my second loop or my next loop, and then put those two loops back on the hook. Then you'll push this caramel band to the second loop over the third, and then you'll take this new second loop, which is the neon yellow, push it over the first and over the tip of the hook. Then you'll add another caramel band on. Again, I just like to take that off and hold it, grab my next band, and put those two back on. Then move this loop over the neon yellow, push the neon yellow over the tip of the hook, and then you're going to add another caramel band here. Again, taking this off, grabbing my neon yellow band, putting those two loops back on, pushing this second caramel loop over the third loop, and pushing that yellow off the tip of the hook. Now I'd like to pull one last band through before I attach it to the C-clip, but if you don't like to do that, that's up to you. But at this point I'm now going to turn my bracelet back around so that I can easily loop it into this band. So I'm going to take one of these loops off. Oops, I'm getting all twisted up. Alright, there we go. And then you're just going to push those two caramel loops into the burgundy and close it back up. Again, if you just want to pull through the caramel loop here and not add another one, that's fine. I think it just gets kind of crammed at the end. But now we're going to do the other side. It's the same exact thing. Remember, before you grab any of those yellow loops, you have to grab the cap band, so make sure you go in between these two burgundy loops and grab the cap band. Oops. The yellow band might try to get in here, and this side is going to be a little bit tougher because the bands are tighter. But once you grab that band, go ahead and loop a caramel band onto it. And just like we did before, go ahead and take these two loops off, turn your bracelet around so that the C-clip is facing your hook holding hand. Grab this first band, and then put these other two caramel loops back on. Now this again is going to be a tougher stitch just because we're at the very beginning, but you're going to push that first caramel band over and then push the yellow off the tip of the hook, and if you need to, you can just kind of pull it. So once you have that, go ahead and take a caramel band, pull that through those two loops. And if your bands do this, they kind of get twisted or arranged the wrong way, you can always pull them back. But I'm going to take my 2 loops off, and your bands are probably going to be looking something like this, kind of pulled through the other side. Just make sure to grab them through the middle and pull them out. That's just because we're pulling on them on the other side, so they'll shift on this side. But anyway, I'm going to do the same thing, just push the second loop over the third, and then push that neon yellow loop over the tip of your hook. And if your bands get twisted, you probably want to untwist them before the rest of the bracelet gets too tight. Obviously, if you're using limited edition bands, this won't matter, but because I'm using just regular bands, they'll probably get twisted pretty easily. So again, I'm just repeating what I did on the other side. This is my last horizontal band here. And I'm going to pull one last band through, but if you don't want to do that, if you just want to put it into the C-clip, that's fine. But I'm going to turn this around now so that I can easily loop it into the C-clip. I'll clip it back up, and in the end this is kind of what your bracelet should look like. Obviously it's going to be a lot longer, and if these bands on the sides are kind of all facing one direction, they should be good, but you can always adjust them just by pushing them one way or the other. The beginning band is going to be looking a little bit weird. It's going to be kind of closer to the second one, but that's just because of the way the bracelet is made. But this is what it looks like when you're finished. So that is going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll have I'm a Crazy Fangirl's name in the description box below. Make sure to check her out on Instagram. Give her a follow for me. But for now, that is going to do it for this video, and I hope to see you next time.